Hi. Can everybody hear me? Awesome. Welcome, BBC. My name is Ronnie Padwa. I am a lifestyle and branding photographer and videographer. I'm the founder of Business Blend Collective and your show host for BBC Live. We're at Toastique, downtown Sarasota, and I'm in a room full of amazing entrepreneurs. I'm so excited for our conversation today. Today we are talking about being wildly magnetic in your business and having a relationship with it. I'm so grateful to be sitting next to you. Elyse, before I introduce her, Elyse has been a really big pillar in our community, especially BBC. During the growth of BBC, she spent some time with me to really tap into like the deeper why behind it. And every decision that we make is kind of filtered through that. So I appreciate you doing that for me. But this is Elyse. If you don't know her, she's magnetic as can be. She's a firecracker. She's somebody that when you're in the room with her, her energy is contagious and she just makes you feel really, really good. So she is an energetic business strategist. She is also a keynote speaker, and she has her own podcast called The Sacred CEO. Can we get some snaps for Elyse, please? Awesome. Okay, so what the heck is being wildly magnetic?
We're here. Thank you so much. Hi, everybody. I'm so excited to be here. Thank you so much, Ronnie, for having me. First question, what is being wildly magnetic? We're just going to dive right in. So I believe being wildly magnetic can mean different things to different people because we all have different personalities. We all have different things that we like. We all have different things that we're naturally drawn to. For me, how I would answer that is being wildly magnetic, say that 5 times, is for me, when something really takes my breath away, it's something that like hits me to my core. Maybe it's the most gorgeous sunset. Maybe it's a flower that's blooming. Maybe it's a conversation that I have with another human. Maybe it's somebody's outfit. Like when Elsa came in today, I was like, okay, girl, you're like really rocking it, right? There was something that had me stop and have a moment of thought that drew me closer to somebody. So being wildly magnetic is that closeness. Even for me, when I originally came to my first BBC meeting, that to me was a magnetic moment. There was something that drew me in. I was like, this is different. These are my people. This is an energy that has an aliveness to it. So the magnetic energy is, for me, bright, alive, interesting, out of the box, not your status quo. Definitely not the boring route. Now, if you're gonna choose to be boring, I say go all the way. Like make it a thing. You know, like Ronnie and I talk about this all the time because she used to wear black and white all the time. But just because she was always in black and white and not in bright colored clothing did not mean that she wasn't magnetic. Her personality, the energy. So there's something that draws us in. And for anyone who wants to go there, we have an auric field that has been scientifically studied, has been energetically studied, spiritually studied, and that auric field meets before we know anything. I mean, how many of you have ever walked into a room and you're like, ooh, this is not the room for me, I'm gonna head right out the door. Anybody? Yeah, okay. And then vice versa, you walk in the room and you're like, this is amazing, I belong here. And so that is the energy speaking. It's the magnetic quality of the person, of the business, Toastique. I remember the first time when I walked in here and the high ceilings, I was like, oh, it kind of took my breath away. So what are those moments that take your breath away about someone or something else? But then you also get to turn that mirror back to you. What is something that has you have that moment for yourself, which then becomes that beacon of light when you walk out in the world? Yes, for yourself, but also, of course, you're branding for your business.
I love that. So can anybody be magnetic, or is it something that's just inside of you?
Nobody, never can be magnetic. No, just kidding. Of course, everyone can be magnetic. And I know when Ronnie and I were prepping this conversation, I said, for some people, because I do so much intimate, deep work with so many beautiful clients, sometimes they're like, well, I don't know what I have. I don't know that I can be magnetic. I'm not outgoing like you, or I don't wear bright colors, or I don't think I can be magnetic. But here's the thing. The most magnetic person in the room does not have to be the loudest. Sometimes they can be the one that's sitting in the corner, present as can be, and you're like, ooh, they're interesting. I really want to know what's going on in their mind. They can be the most interesting. They can be the most intelligent. They can just be the most present right here with you. It does not have to be loud, bold, wild in that way. So this is an invitation for you as we're having this conversation about being magnetic. What is that quality? What is that quality that you have that makes you stand out, that makes you unique? Because that's the thing that actually makes you magnetic. It's not what somebody else says or how somebody else is dressing or acting. It's you being you all the way. Like, go all the way in on who you are, because that is naturally attractive and a natural quality. And so if we think about it in the form of business, what is your business doing to be attractive in the marketplace? We were laughing because I was like, not everybody has the most fancy job or business that they do. Like, when I think about plumbing, I don't think, oh, that's sexy. But there's some really cool, funky, fun things that you could do with that. You could have some like poop in your like tagline or something, and I'd be like, oh, that's interesting. It would make me stop and think, right? Or maybe like it's maybe a female-owned plumbing company, and they're like bright pink splattered everywhere. Like, there's something splattered. I don't know. Ew. Okay, but it makes you stop and think. So no matter if you think you're running a business that is a magnetic business or not, again, it's not about being the loudest. It's not about being so up in your face, but it's about being steadfast and true to who you are.
I love that. And I wonder, right, I remember somebody asking me, what's your best feature? I was like, I don't know. And I remember looking at myself in the mirror being like, what do I like about myself? What do I think is pretty, right? So taking inventory, internally, what is it about myself that I do like, right? And really use that. All right, so what's the secret sauce? How do we become wildly magnetic?
Wildly magnetic.
Give us the
Okay, this is the moment. If you want to take notes, this is a good note moment. We are going to go through my wild method that I teach clients, that I work with clients. We're going to do it pretty rapid fire here. But I love that you said what you just said, looking in the mirror, what is it about me? What is it about my business? Because we don't always know. And if we've been living in a world of disconnection, then we may not know the answer to that. But that is the W. The W is worthiness. And so it's the worthiness and your why. And again, you can take this for yourself, but also apply it to your business. So somewhere in life, somebody probably told you that you weren't good enough. We all have these stories. I remember one time I grew up as a gymnast and a dancer, and I remember I won some overall dance competition thing, and there was a dance mom from my studio that came up to me and pointed her finger at me and was like, you shouldn't have won. My daughter should have won. And I was like, and I remember that moment I just shut down. I was like, it's not safe to win. It's not safe to be seen. It's not safe to take up space. Even though what I knew what was true for me is I really just wanted to shine. But it took me a long time to get back to that place. So the worthiness really is the place where you get to say, whatever happened in the past is the past. What can you do? What stories have you personally been through that have had you arrive now here to be in your business? Why did you start your business? This is the worthiness why. Why did you start your business? Most of us started our businesses to help people. And so if we can come back to that moment of desire of wanting to help people, our worthiness notch goes tick, 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 and we can kind of build ourselves back up with that. So that's the W, is worthiness and your why. The I is internal alignment, okay? This is your inner critic, which does sort of relate to the worthiness piece, but it's also your inner cheerleader. This is where listening to your intuition, trusting yourself, taking those steps, the internal alignment where you can say, wait, I do believe in myself. And if you don't, hire somebody who can help you do that, to lean in, to trust yourself. Because when you trust yourself, you can take those steps powerfully forward. And when you are in that space of clarity, naturally, you are more wildly magnetic because you're not unsure of yourself. When you're unsure of yourself, it's like wobbly, right? We're on wobbly legs. And so by standing in that internal alignment and letting the inner cheerleader be so much louder than the inner critic, then this is the moment and the opportunity to boost your magnetism. The L here is leadership presence. So the L in wild is leadership presence. This one will like 10x everything for you. It will 10x your money, it will 10x your results, it will 10x your opportunities to work with people. And this is, how do you show up in a space? When you walked in today, if there was a piece of trash on the floor, did you pick it up or did you walk over it? You're leaving a space and like all the chairs are a mess. Did you push them in or did you just walk out and leave the space a mess? This is where you take ownership. You take ownership of every space you walk into. You take ownership, even if you're not on whatever leadership team or you're going to an event and you're like, I'm sitting like 99 rows back. You can go and just chill, but imagine if I went and acted as if I was the speaker on the stage, or acted as if I put this whole event on. There's a different level of presence, and there's a different level of availability to your energy. There's a company that hires me in out of Austin, and I love watching how this person hires and fires, because they hire and fire in their company based on this only. If someone comes in and says, hey, I want to like apply, I want to support, I want to be a coach on your team, he's like, cool, come to an event. That's all he says. And then he watches how that person shows up. Do they hold the door for people? Are they communicative? Are they present? If somebody drops the bag, are they aware of the room? This one, I'm telling you, if it's anything that you get from this leadership presence for the L is like, it's a good one. Okay. Last one, D, is distinctive expression. We talked a little bit about this already, but this is like your unique thing. What is your unique thing? I grew up as a gymnast and dancer, so when I make reels, I dance in my reels. People all the time will message me, oh my gosh, thank you for dancing, it made my day. I'm not really dancing for them, I'm dancing for me, but because it's my natural state, it's a naturally magnetic energy. So for some people, like maybe you love talking about dogs, or maybe you love Chanel bags, or maybe, like what is the fun thing that you do outside of your business that you can bring into the marketing of your business? Ronnie, she's always like doing cool adventures with her family and her kids. I'm like, oh my gosh, her kids are skateboarding. That's so cool. And that's another magnetic quality. So what makes you so distinctively you? Yes, so now we have wild. W-I-L-D. Woo! Okay. There we go. There's your steps.
Oh, there's no L-Y, wild. It's wild, not
Wild.
wild.
W-I-L-D.
Okay, so you talked about having a relationship. We talked about how people almost talk about their business like their baby. Can you tell me a little bit more about that?
Yeah, totally. So I like to talk about this because one of the pieces that I teach is relating to your business as if it's a person. Because so many times we're so enmeshed in our businesses that we're not actually asking our business or thinking about, where does my business actually want to go? We're looking at it like, where do I want to take my business? Which many of us are the face of our business. Like, I'm the face of my business. So it would make sense that I'm thinking about what direction I want to go. But if you think about, many of us will say like, oh my gosh, I just birthed my business, or I birthed a new product for my business. And that's amazing and that's great. But for those of us who have kids, you know that you can't actually make your kids do everything. And at some point in time, they're gonna go fly, And they're gonna go do their own thing. We cannot control their destiny. And so if you can actually imagine that being the same thing with a business, we cannot actually control the destiny of our business. And if you can allow your business to take flight and to give it some space to actually be what it wants to be, this helicopter parent energy that many of us might have, we squash it and we actually squash what the business wants. And so I invite you today to play with this. This might be very new for some of you, but to ask your business, hey, business, what do you need from me? Where do I need to take a step back? And where do you want to fly? And whatever version of those questions you want to ask yourself. But these are powerful and potent questions to actually get more of that bird's eye view of your business. Because there's that saying, like, you can't see the forest for the trees. If you're standing so close to your business, you're actually missing some really key areas that will help you expand, grow your income, again, opportunities, any place that you're wanting to expand. You got to let go a little bit. And you've got to pretend like Ronnie's my business. Hey, business, like, what are we doing today? I have business meetings with my business in a meditative state. Just like you would go in and say your gratitude or do whatever you do for your prayers or your meditation, I invite you to actually have a business meeting with your business. And if you need help with that, you can definitely come ask me after, or we could have a little moment. But literally, what do you want from me? Where do you want to go today? What is the next big product? And instead of coming from my mind, I'm actually giving space for something that I can't even imagine to be downloaded through me. And it's really beautiful, and it's a really powerful practice.
I love it. This is so funny to me because I'm so guilty of being a helicopter parent with my kids. We were just in St. Pete, and my kids were doing this craft, and they were making a caterpillar. And my older one followed directions, and he put all the cups in a line, and my youngest one was like, I'm a zigzag, my caterpillar. And I was like, no. And I was like, well, okay, no, be creative, allow it to organically unfold, right? If we really, I don't know, I just really love that visual because I totally relate. I do it to my business, and I'm definitely checking in with mine today, so. Okay, so how do we build that relationship with our, how do we shift that? How do we let go? Let them fall, let them bleed. Again, I'm just kidding.
I think the first part is kind of like what I just said. You've got to really actually see your business as a business partner, as a friend, as its own thing. By the way, any of y'all that have money stuff going on, this is a really great thing to do with money too, where you personify money and you say, hey, where have I been screwing up? Where have I been doing really well? And allow your own heart and your intuition to have answers that come through for that. And again, if you're new to this process or you don't really do meditation, it might feel really strange. What am I doing here? But you could do it in a journal if you want to do it in a journal. You could write that question good morning, business. I just want to check in. What would be a great thing for me to focus my energy on today? Looking at the month of April, where do we go? Income is down. How do we boost? What does that injection of income look like? Or maybe you're looking at client relation is getting a little weird. You can be very specific about the area of business that you're wanting to grow and ask very specifically. And then let yourself do what's called automatic writing. You just start writing. It may not even make sense. You may doodle, you may make some stars, and you may write some things that don't make sense, but trust what's coming through. Because the more you can start asking your business and actually just engaging in a conversation, you will have ideas that come through that are that's so good. And that's part of this wildly magnetic energy, is that when you're trusting a bigger energy and you're trusting a bigger whole, then you're able to take those steps again with more clarity. And when we have more clarity, we know from what I mentioned earlier, we have more magnetic energy because you're confident. And I know for me, when I walk in a room, the most confident people in the room, those are usually the ones that I want to talk to, because I'm like, they know something that I don't. I want to go learn from them. I want to go engage in a conversation that has me curious, has me grow, has some new inspiring thing to come through.
So good, yeah, snaps. Does anybody have questions for Elyse?
I am right now in like a pivot, like in between season of like no, I don't want to use the word leaving something old, but like growing and like newness. But the newness hasn't come in yet. So it's hard to let go of what I'm stepping out of. Do you have any tips for that?
I do.
Okay.
I work with a lot of people in this space because that's a space of confusion. And when we're in confusion, we feel not very magnetic. And we're like, meh, what do we say? So in the meh energy, if you can think, for those of you who are in that transition, anybody else in a transitional state right now? Yeah, many of you. Okay, this is great. Great question, Kim. So you can ask whatever the newness is as if that were the business. So bring in that newness as the entity, as the business, even though we don't know what it is. So you're gonna say, like in your journal or your questions, hey, new thing coming through, question mark. What do you have for me today? How can I best prepare for what's coming? What might I go do today? Or who shall I meet that might connect me to this new thing? Because just like, I'm gonna get a little bit more detailed here. So those of you who are gonna stay with me, you're gonna stay with me. Those of you who are not, you might just peace out for a moment. But just like our auric field precedes us in the energy, whatever is coming is also being seated right now, and you just can't see it. So that's where that trust comes in, that's where the intuition comes in, that we've got to trust that the seeds are being planted. And you've just got to start talking to the seeds. Okay, I know there's seeds, I know they're here. Where can I go? Who can I meet today? What do I need to do? I don't know why this is coming up. I feel like we've talked about closets so much in this space. Maybe not. I'm there's closets coming forward. But sometimes we have to clean up our personal home. If our closet is a mess, or maybe we've got messy relationships, sometimes we have to go clean those things up to dust off the path, and that path will become more clear. I'm not saying your closet is dirty. That's not what I'm saying, but yes, amazing. Woo! Yeah, we have amazing, beautiful organizers and supporters in that space. But it's powerful to just ask those questions. You'll get some random thing you need to go to the beach today and jump in the ocean. You might not understand why, but go do it, because there might be something about that you meet somebody who's at the beach, or you get inspired to start sketching something, and you're like, what am I sketching? It becomes your logo. I don't know. So that's how those little God wink moments come in, and you start trusting those synchronicities. But talk to this new thing as if it's the business. Is that helpful? Great.
I have a question.
Hi, Joe. What's up?
So, hi everyone. My name is Joe. Nice to see you. Now, what I love about who you are and what you're creating is this power of being a sacred CEO. A sacred CEO. And as a woman, we are sacred when you can really start to honor who you are and the power of who you are. And what you're starting to get us into this world of being, and being in relationship with this sacred power. My question to you as a sacred CEO, an established entrepreneur for 30 years, is how do I take what I'm gaining, what I'm getting intuitively, knowing that's where I should be focusing, trusting, creating, but then getting my whole team on board with this is where we're going to go, and we've got no idea how we're going to do it yet. So how do you work with teams to follow the sacred path?
I love this question. Dr. Julia is not here, but we've got Dr. Julia team here. Whoop, whoop. I love this because what happens is it does start with us. It starts with us and understanding that route of being in that sacred CEO role. How am I really being the captain of the ship? We are all the captain of the ship for our business. And some of us are solopreneurs and some of us do have big teams, small teams or big teams. But essentially, you've got to speak the language of your business. You've got to speak the language that your team will understand. Most likely, your team is not going to understand what it's like running the business because they're not running the business. So you get to enroll them in the way that they want to be enrolled. So the reason why I brought Dr. Julia in is because for her team, she actually ended up, after we did some work together, she ended up hosting a retreat for her team. She closed her office down for a couple of days. She brought her team together, redid their manuals, had this beautiful process where she honored her team. People want to be seen, they want to be loved, they want to be held. They might not say that, but we all want that. They're basic human needs. We want to feel like we're important. And so when you can make your team feel really important and that there's this beautiful new wave of energy coming into the company, you enroll them. You get them on the excitement train, so to speak, of this is the way that we're going. And we want to ground it. We want to acknowledge the gifts that each individual employee or team member has, and have them feel wildly magnetic in their role too. Because if you're the only one being wildly magnetic, then there's some chinks in the chain if the rest of your team is not operating in that leadership presence and in that wildly magnetic energy. So enrolling them into the excitement, maybe having a team meeting or a retreat day or a team, building day, and go from there. Thank you, Joe. You guys are so in it. I love it.
You're speaking my language.
So I love the exercise you gave us of having a conversation with your business. I do that, and here's the conversation. Where she wants to go, but I'm comfortable. And so it's always, every other day, we have this fight of no, you listen to me. No, you listen to me. So what would you recommend in terms of balancing that, listening to my business, but also listening to myself as well? Because I feel like she wants to go and I just want to chill.
Get some boxing gloves. I'm just kidding.
What's that?
I was like, get some boxing gloves, get in that fight. No, I really get that. I really get that a lot. I know, I'm trying to be funny. Y'all are like, what is happening? This is a big one because this is where we meet our human limitation, which really we don't have limitation. It's our mind that puts us in the I can't jail is what I like to call it. And in the I can't jail, or that's going to take a lot of work jail, or whatever limitation we put on ourselves, we have to then talk to the limitation. So take it a step further. Elsa says, oh, shoot. So we talk to our business, we get the information, we start to walk down the path, and we're like, oh no, that's a really scary path. I don't know that I can do that. So then you talk to the thing. So bring in maybe it's speaking on stage and you're terrified to speak, but you want to speak, your business is ready to speak. And it's your business, Then it's okay, what is so scary about speaking? And start answering those questions. Because most of the time you will pinpoint the thing that still has the hook, the bungee hook that's bungeeing you back. And if you can locate the reason why, maybe you feel like you'll be away from your family too much, or it's gonna, be late night hours and you just don't know, or you just don't know what happens when you become that magnetic. Some people are actually more afraid of success than failure. I'm gonna say that again. Some of you are going around pretending like you're afraid to fail, but you're actually afraid to succeed. Yeah, Amelie's yeah, that's me. So it's in that space where you just keep asking the thing that's creating the block. Because once you become aware of the thing, then you can say, oh, I'm gonna unhook that thing and take 3 more steps forward. Oh shit, I'm at another roadblock. Okay, roadblock, let's have a conversation. Why are you so scary? And then allow that roadblock to reflect back to you why it's so scary. And you might need to do a little work around that. You might need a coach. You might need to go practice something or take those like personal development steps to unhook that hook. But every time you get there, keep talking to that, whatever it is. Is that helpful?
Yes.
Okay, good. You're welcome. Thanks for the question. These are great questions, by the way.
I like that. Get some punching bags. Ooh.
Get some punching bags.
Any other questions, friends? Yeah, come on up. Oh, you have a seat. I like your jacket.
No, I just wanted to sit on this chair. Kidding.
Okay, wait. Can we have a moment though? Because this was like a bold magnetic moment. So, whoop, whoop, whoop.
No, I do. I do have a question. So as a woman, as a mother, as a partner, there's this part of me that wants to just rest and not really like go and build, keep building, keep scaling. I get exhausted. But I know what we have to offer is so valuable. Like as a woman, we have so much to offer, so much beautiful things that we can offer outside of being a mother and a partner. How do we balance that without losing, like getting so tired all the time, exhausted and feeling empty, feeling still magnetic at home in personal life, and also out in the market and then making impact? How can we do that?
It's a really good question, and I can really feel your heart on that. Anybody else like in this space, we're like, how do we balance? My husband is he's standing right here. He knows I cry a lot, honestly. I cry a lot, but when I cry, it moves the energy, it moves the emotion, and I don't hold on to it. So I know that's not directly your question, but that's the first thing that comes through is like whatever you're experiencing, you've got to acknowledge it. If we try to fight it, then it stays around and it hangs around. So that feeling of like, oh, can I keep going? Like go all the way there the next week. Like go all the way there. Like be in the agony of it, be in the disgust of it, be in the, is it possible, the helplessness, like anything that comes up around it. Let yourself go all the way there. And I'm very like intuitive and I can sense and I can feel. There's a lot of layers here for you. So that's step one. Step two is, it's trial and error. And for anybody who has kids, like every age is different. You're parenting different at every age. And so I personally like to time block my schedule. Now I'm a Pisces girl. My birthday was last week. Woo woo. I am very like flowy, okay? I don't like structure. However, the thing that I always make sure to have in my schedule is like my open space or my creative space. So sometimes for me, that creative space is going to the beach. Sometimes it's putting music on and dancing naked in my house. Okay, sometimes it's taking a nap. But I write the space in my calendar. If you don't actually write the space in your calendar to celebrate you, to give you the you space that you need, we skip right over it. And we're like, yeah, I'll do that later. So that has to come so that you can get your cup filled again. We have to fill our cups. Even if we have a schedule that's go, you have to schedule those times because when you're there, you can give it over. You don't have to hold it anymore. And if you're not giving yourself that space to say, I'm not going to carry the world on my shoulders, I'm going to hand that over, I'm giving it back, I'm laying it down, then you're just holding it and holding it and holding it. So to me, for you specifically, it really feels like you've got to give yourself space first, actually. Not put everybody else's schedules first, but put you first, where you can just be and fill up your cup. Because from there, you can stay balanced. And you just choose. Some weeks, my family is in the most valuable position. They win the award that week. Other weeks, when I've got retreats or things happening for business, my business wins the award that week. Sometimes my husband wins that award, right? It does go around. But I do it in flow, and I just keep praying a lot too, for me. Yeah.
Thank you.
You guys, Priscilla has 7 children and runs a business, so, I mean, when I feel like I'm having a hard moment in my family, I actually think about you. And I'm like, what would Priscilla do right now?
It's a bumper sticker. Okay, so a couple of things you said really tied all together, especially with that last question. I feel like for me, and I think a lot of business owners and women that are already magnetic, naturally, like you're the owner of a business, so already you're putting yourself in that place. I find that when I do what I love and what I want, I almost get like too magnetic. Everything from my kids, from everybody, it's like so much all at once. And then I just want to like burn it all to the ground and be like, okay, I'm done. I don't want to see anybody. And so I think you touched on that, but like specifically, how do we do that without, yes.
Actually, Ronnie and I did talk about this potentially being a question when we were in our prep. Like, being magnetic is great, but being too magnetic or magnetic to the wrong kinds of things, not cool at all, right? So I squirrel sometimes when I answer. I'm gonna come back, but the first thing that's coming through is capacity. Because if you haven't ever been magnetic or your magnetism is being turned up, it can feel overwhelming. I mean, I'm not gonna lie, like that is a truth. Like, Jeannie's like, yeah. Like it kind of comes and you're like, oh my gosh, I wanna go hide in the cave. And especially like we have a really like big female audience here today. We as women are cyclical beings. So we actually do go into the cave based on our cycles. So that's a whole other conversation as well. But when we open ourselves up, it's capacity building. And sometimes you will need to cocoon for a few days. And if you can actually be okay with that and not make yourself wrong, then you get rest and you're like, okay, I just built the capacity. I can talk to 13 people in a day and feel okay. Oh, but 15 makes me want to crash and burn. Okay, and so like you get to the day that's 15 and you're like, okay, I'm gonna crash and burn. You go take a nap, you do your bubble bath, you retreat for a few days, but then you come back out. Oh my gosh, I can talk to 18 people in a day now and be okay. So there's something that I like to call capacity building. And it is that, you have to practice it. And simultaneously be very intentional, okay? I attract only light love beings. I attract opportunities that are a win-win for me and this person. Sloan did such an amazing job at our last conversation and talk of like creating and choosing those opportunities that are aligned. Don't say yes to the thing that your gut says no to. That's another big one. We say yes, we're like, yeah, sure, I'll do that, but it's not really true for us. And we keep going because we want to be nice or we want to be a people pleaser. But if you can say no to the things that are authentic and say yes to the things that are authentic, I personally believe That's a checks and balance. And then also, like you said, like doing the thing that you love, which goes back to this like distinctive expression. If you love to go swing on a swing, go swing on a swing. That is gonna clear your energy. It's gonna have you come back to you. If you love to color with your kids, do the thing that you love, because that resets you to that purity of energy. And you don't have to bring and hold the rest of the world. But it might be uncomfortable. I'm not like, there's no magic moment. It's gonna be uncomfortable when you start expanding. But it's just like you like start doing push-ups or like pumping. You're not gonna go to the gym and do 35 pull-ups today. But eventually you're gonna get there if you stay on the course. And don't make yourself wrong when you need to take care of yourself.
And ask for help.
And ask for help, yes. Yes. Oh, and actually, when you were up here, the other thing I wanted to say is you don't have to do it by yourself. Thank you for bringing that back up.
Because you've really helped me in that way.
Yeah, you don't have to do it by yourself. Some of us are actually not meant to be that ongoing generator. Some of us actually need to hire people to run our business. And then you're the CEO behind the scenes. You don't always have to be the one in the front. It's okay. We all have different leadership styles and different leadership qualities. So this again is going back to like not making yourself wrong. If your unique expression is being a badass on the back end of your business, then bring somebody in that can be that front-facing like motor. Yeah, so you're not completely out of balance in the way that you're doing your work. Thank you.
Thank you.
It was so good.
I love it. I just like wanted to like watch from afar, like watching you speak and come from like such a deep, passionate, magnetic place. Thank you. I think to recap for today, it's, you know, to be magnetic doesn't mean you have to be the loudest, the brightest. It's really you, like really connecting with who you are, what your business is, and taking that time and building that relationship. Like, hey, how are you doing? What are we doing next? I appreciate you. Can we start? I know we're gonna do the giveaway in a little bit, but can you share with everybody what you're offering?
Yeah, totally. We can just do it now, I guess,
Yeah.
right? We're here.
Here we go.
So I was gonna do it at the raffle, but we'll do it here. So I started this last year when I was in a space of like, I had really gotten into like mopey mom mode is what I call it. And I was like drab, like I just wasn't fully myself. I wasn't showing up in my leadership presence. And I got in this weird like lull, and some really amazing, beautiful friends called me forward on it. And I was like, okay, yeah, I need to like spice it up. I need to get back to this version or whatever the new version of it was. And what I did last year was I created a magnetic as fuck challenge. And it was amazing. We had a blast. And I'm running it back. So some of you have seen it. Some of you are on like the wait list right now, which is amazing. And so the Magnetic as Fuck Challenge, doors open on Friday. And it's gonna be what it is. It's amazing. It's a 7-day challenge. It's like daily like actions and energy and teachings and trainings. A few of you actually were in it last year, which is so cool. And what has come just from that ignition is so beautiful. You can ask me more about it, but essentially for the BBC folks, all y'all that are here today, I'm gonna give you early access and a code so you don't have to pay, so you're gonna get it for free. You can go to ElyseFalzone.com/BBC. /BBC, ElyseFalzone.com/BBC. This is available between now and Saturday for you, okay? So it's free. You use the code BBC at checkout. And there's like a whole page if you want to read more about it and all of that stuff. But if you're wanting to like up your magnetic energy, up your business, make your relationships extra spicy and fun, uptick the opportunities. This is a really fun space to do this. And I would love for those of you who are feeling really called to be a part of it to jump in. ElyseFalzone.com/BBC, code BBC to get it for free.
I just want to thank everybody who asked. I want to thank everybody who's sitting here and being present. And I just feel like that's the cool thing about BBC is that they're real conversations. It's real connections. And I do hope that when you walk in the door that you feel like you're welcome. And if you don't, come talk to me. I will make sure you do because you are welcome. Thank you again for your presence, Jake Glaze. Thank you for all of your help. Laura, we love you. And Dee Dee, actually, will you stand up? She's kind of short. She's fun size. She will be our next speaker. Yep, willing to get on a table. She's our next speaker. If you want to host us, let me know. If not, we will be here at Toasty because it is our home base. You guys, thank you so much.
Thank you.